The unruly conduct of that committee, you had members who kept interrupting on what they call points of order, and unfortunately most of the interruptions were either racist or defamatory. I was repeatedly called a spy. I was repeatedly called a thug.
Were you called that, or were you asked whether or not you were that?
No, I was called that.
Oh, okay.
I was repeatedly called a spy. I was called a thug. The Actionist AMP, I forget her first name, James, she said that I'm involved in a drug cartel. What rubbish.
What if I tell you that Paul O'Sullivan planned this exit from the morning? Because of the video that I played at the beginning of this particular episode, that Paul O'Sullivan knew from the beginning that he's going to take some members of parliament to the Madlanga Commission, report them to Madlanga Commission, and I don't know what else is he going to do. Is it because he's old or what? On the other hand, the NKABINDE inquiry is going into showing us the explicit images of the people who are victims of the CATO unit. And lastly, Ms. GCASHEKA just exposed herself that she was the head of human resource without even understanding the basic laws. The question remains, which one is supreme between the municipal laws as well as the South African Police Services Act of 1994? In this video, let us talk about these three processes. As I think you know by now, South Africans, that Paul O'Sullivan decided to walk out of the ad hoc committee after he was asked questions. I think it was some kind of like cross-examination, re-examination of the evidence leader, and he just stormed out. And he even had an altercation outside with SKHOSANA. But that's the thing, this was a build-up of something that happened in the morning. And he said that he's reported some members of the parliament to Madlanga, he's going to Madlanga. You know, he's just all over the place.
So things aren't as good as I'd like them to be.
Quite unfortunate, but you're ready to complete with your testimony.
Oh yeah, I'm not hiding from anything. The committee have issues. I've asked the Madlanga Commission to investigate certain members of this committee who are supporting criminals in the criminal justice system, and I will be exposing more of that later.
Do you mind telling us who those members are? Okay.
I don't know if all of this is because of his old age or because now his ghosts are slowly but surely haunting him. I don't know what you guys think about this kind of behavior from him, but I just think that, you know, he's in real trouble, because now the Speaker of Parliament has said that they're going to deliberate with the Speaker or the chair of the ad hoc committee, discussing the way forward with regards to the behavior of Paul O'Sullivan.
Parliament after abruptly walking out of the ad hoc committee. National Assembly Speaker Togo Didiza is now demanding a report into what happened. O'Sullivan told members of Parliament that he was leaving because he had a flight to catch.
He said that he's going back to his country and his flight is, he's getting late. And he doesn't understand that now this matter has gotten worse, because that's the thing, he's not done with his testimony. He is still under oath. And if you're still under oath, there's certain things you can say and there's certain things you can't say. And he's just breached his oath that he took during the time of the ad hoc committee when he started his testimony. And Paul O'Sullivan has a private jet. So that's one of the arguments that people have raised, that you have a private jet. For example, SKHOSANA has really raised that argument that he has a private jet. What was he rushing to? He has a private jet. Private jets don't have times, unless he was lying about all of that. But it seems like the members of parliament are not taking it, because even the economic freedom fighters have decided to open a case against him because they're just not happy about the conduct that he oozed in that parliament.
It was really an embarrassing situation for South Africans that one man decided to leave, the parliament, the lawmakers, where he was appearing and saying that his plane is leaving. I mean, you can reschedule planes. We do, most of us. Sometimes planes are delayed. It's even worse because he said that he's got a private jet. But we done it in May.
So now, The members of parliament have deliberated as to what is going to happen going forward, and they think that the best solution is for them to summon him back, and failure which will lead for them to have a warrant of arrest against him.
We've been gravely undermined, we've been insulted, we've been humiliated as parliamentarians, and it was allowed here today. It is totally unacceptable what has happened here. We cannot have Mr. Paul O'Sullivan coming and dictating. He has called us criminals and we allowed it. He said we must lick his and we allowed it, and then he walks out of parliament. We have to act against this man who thinks that he is above the law, which he is not.
This issue of or the paradigm shift has not taken place in his mind. The white supremacy, he undermines parliament, he calls us crooks, even if he has withdrawn that. But I can tell you now that this is what Paul O'Sullivan is all about, you know, undermining parliament. I mean, he has not started now. He's been doing interviews, you know, and insulting us. I mean, if somebody say we must kiss his, what does that mean?
It's the problem that he has. It's the display of arrogance, the display of disrespect, and unfortunately what that does is it takes away from the focus on what should the focus actually be on, which is the evidence. Because there's nothing that anybody can show or prove that he has done wrong. He's not perfect. So everybody is saying, why am I saying he's a hero? Because of the sacrifices he made fighting crime for this country, just like any other hero of the past, but no one is perfect. He's a hero with holes.
He was actually evading answering questions from honorable members, and if anything, what actually came out very prominently in his reaction to the questions was that Mr. O'Sullivan actually has a very low opinion of members of parliament specifically, and dare I say of black people in general.
And from the statement that has been released by the Speaker, Otoko Titiza, it looks like he might end up being on their side and allow for these summons to be served, and later on even a warrant of arrest if he still does not comply with the summons. It goes back to that argument that I told you, that if he's going back to his country, it's going to be very hard for them to bring him back. Because Paul O'Sullivan, he's frustrated, but that's the thing. He says that he wants to testify at the Madlanga. So it doesn't make sense for him to run away from this process. If I was him, I would have just controlled my anger, controlled my dissatisfaction, and just finish the testimony, and then after then take it from there and then move forward. I don't know what you guys think. And yeah, do you think that it makes sense what he did? For me, I'm not gonna lie, I expected it because of the attitude that he was giving reporters from the morning. He was coming with that attitude that I'm here to fight. And yeah, you better do what I want you to do. Otherwise, I'm here to fight. That's the type of attitude that he came with. Now, as you guys have seen from the beginning of the video, he apologized and had an exclusive with eNCA apologizing. I want us to react together to this exclusive by the eNCA. Let's go.
In the middle of the ad hoc committee, why did you leave?
I leave in the middle of the ad hoc committee, but on assignment. I didn't expect. I'm very sorry about that.
That's okay.
I didn't leave in the middle of the ad hoc committee. Anybody watching the ad hoc committee would have seen that a number of times it was mentioned by the chairman that I would be leaving at 1 o'clock in the afternoon because I had a flight to catch. And the original estimate I was given was 2 to 2.5 hours. And I said, let's make it 3 hours to be on the safe side. And then it was agreed that I would leave at 1. I was to catch the 3:15 flight to Johannesburg, which actually I left after 1, quite a bit after 1. And because of the kerfuffle in getting out and everything, I missed the 3:15 flight and I had to get the next flight to Johannesburg. So I only got home when it was dark last night. But
So you deny the fact that you didn't walk out, you left because you were done answering.
Yeah.
And the reason why I'm asking this is because the evidence leader was still in the process of asking you questions.
Unfortunately, you see what happened. The original plan was that it was supposed to be 2 hours of questions, and then the evidence leader was to come on. But because of the unruly conduct of that committee, you had members who kept interrupting and what they call points of order. And and unfortunately most of the interruptions were either racist or defamatory. I was repeatedly called a spy. I was repeatedly called a thug.
Were you called that, or were you asked whether or not you were that?
No, I was called that.
Oh, okay.
I was repeatedly called a spy. I was called a thug. The Actionist AMP, I forget her first name, James, she said that I'm involved in a drug cartel. What rubbish. You know, I've helped take down some drug cartels. So the reality of the situation is, I went there voluntarily, and there seems to be some understanding that the Powers and Privileges of Parliament Act makes it obligatory for the MPs to insult and attack your integrity and defame you and publish your private information, which is what they've been doing, and put lives of witnesses, which I've helped to get, to take down drug cartels, to put the lives of those witnesses at risk by publishing their names. Now, the Act is there in case they should accidentally defame somebody, not so that they can sit down. And it's not the whole committee, by the way. I've identified the members of the committee that are abusive and racist, and I've seen exactly who they are. And I've worked out what their motive is, and their motive is that they're protecting criminals.
Members of Parliament have indicated that you have defied Parliament by walking out, that the evidence leader was still busy, and that there should have been a different approach in how you decided to up and leave. The EFF has gone to a police station in Cape Town today to open up a case against you. Do you believe that your conduct was appropriate and that you did not walk out of Parliament?
Let me just say, I don't do social media. I've never done social media, but somebody sent me a whole printout of social media that apparently went viral last night. And I mean, I'll read you one or two of these messages, and there's pages and pages of it here. Somebody, I'm not going to say their name, somebody says, "What a circus. These politicians have no right to treat certain witnesses the way they do. Calling O'Sullivan a white supremacist and a spy, then trying to degrade him in the most humiliating way. Who made them judge and jury? In fact, who do these politicians think they are? They are there to question all witnesses, whistleblowers, and write their report. Their report will be absolutely worthless because of their prejudice and bias."
So, Mr. O'Sullivan, I understand that these comments have been made. There are a number of them. You've sent them to me, and I've glanced over them. But I need you to please answer my question. Do you believe that you did not defy Parliament, that you were done answering questions
100%.
and you left?
If you go back and you listen to the period that I was there, the chairman, when he started at 10 a.m. in the morning, made it clear to all the members that they need to move along because I would be leaving at 1. That's 1300 hours. And he made it clear to them that at 1 they would break for lunch, and then they would have another witness in the afternoon after lunch. Now, we counted 5 times that the chairman reminded everybody that I would be leaving at 1. Now that made it clear that there was an agreement that I would be leaving at 1. At 1 o'clock, because of the delays of the members, the belligerent members of the committee, we still had a situation where at 1 o'clock, I now start to realize if I don't leave soon, my flight, I'm going to miss it. And I said,
you ended up missing your flight anyway, Mr. O'Sullivan.
Well, yes, but unfortunately, I didn't know that I would miss my flight. The reality of the situation is that I was there voluntarily. If I was there under a subpoena, or not a subpoena, a summons, I would have been obliged by law to stay until the time.
Let me ask you this, on the back of that comment and statement that you've just made. You were not subpoenaed, but you went there voluntarily.
Correct.
Granted. That is on record.
Correct.
But did you take an oath when you went into the ad hoc committee?
I took an oath to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. I didn't take an oath to be allowed to sit there and have 3 hours of people making racial attacks against me, making defamatory statements against me, and insulting me repeatedly.
Do you believe that you could have handled the situation differently by not walking out and packing your bags the way that you did, and rather indicating to the ad hoc committee that you are going to leave? The evidence leader was still asking you questions. You packed your bag and you left.
Unfortunately, I've sent a long, detailed email to the
evidence leader, yes.
To the evidence leaders and to the, what do you call it, the Speaker of Parliament, setting out the illegality of the conduct of certain members of the committee. It's not the whole committee, it's certain members of the committee. And I've set that out, and I said I expect that this matter will probably end up in court, but nobody can say that I am obliged to sit there and listen hour after hour after hour of racial attacks and defamatory abuse and harassment by these so-called honourable members.
The EFF has opened up a criminal case against you. They are calling for your arrest together with some other members of Parliament. What is your response to that?
Which member of the EFF has opened the case?
It's the EFF in its entirety.
Well, the EFF cannot open a case. It can only be an individual. A political party or company cannot open a case. I do understand a little bit about the criminal law. It has to be an individual. Would it be the same individual, perhaps, that was calling me a white supremacist, or the same individual that was convicted of being in unlawful possession and discharging a firearm in a public place? I have absolutely no respect. They're welcome to go and open all the cases up that they want. The reality of it is that we have courts in this country, and a national prosecuting authority would have to decide after an investigation, what offence did I commit? I've read the Act, I spoke to senior counsel. If you go there voluntarily and people start insulting you and harassing
Does
you...
the Act speak about insults and that you can take a decision voluntarily to just
Correct.
walk out,
If I walk,
even though you've taken an oath and that
you don't seem to understand.
No, I do understand, Mr. O'Sullivan, but
understand.
I do understand because I'm trying to understand how you found it okay to walk out.
No, if I go there voluntarily, I'm not obliged to stay there after the time that was agreed, which was 1300 in the afternoon. In fact, I gave an extra 15 minutes and then left.
So you didn't think it was okay to perhaps change your flight because the evidence leader had still had questions for you?
Well, the point is, and I'm not going to take the whole country into my confidence there, but the point is that I suffered a serious injury.
Okay.
And let me finish, please, because you're now starting to sound like some of the members of that committee who ask a question and then interrupt me before I'm finished. Now, if you want to be a member of the committee, we might as well stop now, otherwise we can just carry on. The reality of the situation is quite simple. I was in a lot of pain. I suffered an injury to my knee, which required surgery on Wednesday. Instead of having that surgery on Wednesday, I flew to Cape Town, having had an injection into my knee and having taken painkillers. I needed to get back to Johannesburg.
Okay.
Now, that is the reality. And what somebody's not going to do is they're not going to tell me, you must sit here so we can call you a spy and call you a thug, and so we can call you a racist and a white supremacist. Nobody has the right to do that. And the sad part about it is that conduct, all it really does is create divisions within our society. So you have good people in this country who are trying to bring the races together. And by the way, I spend a lot of my time trying to bring the races together. And then you have this situation where you have divisiveness. You have people who have other agendas. And I'm saying the agendas these people have is the people that attacked me in Parliament.
You keep speaking about these people that attacked you. Who are these people?
Their agenda, well, it will come out in court.
Okay.
What I don't want to do now is start a tit-for-tat fight over this, but I can tell you now, it will be aired in court, because I will be going after them. And if they think they're going to get away with what they've done, they've got another thing coming.
Okay, I would like to move on to another issue. You were asked to apologize in the ad hoc committee yesterday, which you did do, but you also said that you would apologize on eNCA.
I did it.
But you did say, I went back and I listened, you did say that you would, given the opportunity, you would apologize on this platform, which is eNCA.
So I did say to them that I would apologize for saying "Pak Mahon," and I would retract it, and I've done that. And I apologize again for saying "Pak Mahon." Actually, they had to go and look it up because they didn't even know what it meant. But it's been done, and I've now apologized again, so that's 3 times I've done it.
Okay. You keep calling certain members of parliament crooks and criminals. Do you have evidence to back this statement? And how and who are these crooks and criminals that you keep referring to that are members of parliament?
There are certain members of parliament. Let me explain something to you. If you read the Act, it's called Act 70 of 2000. It defines its RICA. It defines the circumstances upon which a person may be in possession of somebody's cellular phone download. If I took your phone now and I unlawfully downloaded it and then started reading it out, I would be committing a criminal offence. That was done in that ad hoc committee. Another person took a document relating to a protected witness and distributed that document, naming that protected witness, possibly putting that protected witness's life in danger. That's a criminal offence as well. So then you've got a situation where some of the people in Parliament, and I made the comment, the party known as MKP was formed by Jacob Zuma. And they asked me, why do you say it was formed by a criminal? And I said, because Jacob Zuma is a convicted criminal. He was sent to prison for contempt of court. That's a crime. So, and I mean, if I look at some of the investigations we have done, Forensics for Justice, we opened dockets against Vincent Smith, MP, Member of Parliament, for corruption, and there's a whole raft of members of Parliament that we've opened dockets against for corruption.
Mr. O'Sullivan, because we don't have all the time and there's a lot to get through, because South Africans want to hear from you. I mean, you've printed out pages and pages of South Africans.
Well, somebody sent this to me.
Yes, supporting you. So South Africans want to hear from you. And my question to you is, you made a comment to Member of Parliament David SKHOSANA yesterday by saying, you should stop running your mouth. I can't remember the exact words, and you should pay the bank back. David SKHOSANA, just a few minutes ago on eNCA, confirmed that a sheriff has served him with papers. Are you aware of that? Do you have anything to do with that? Because you made an allegation yesterday that he owes money to the bank, and suddenly this morning, less than 24 hours later, he got served by a sheriff.
Well, that's very unfortunate for him. I had no knowledge of it. What I did have knowledge of was that judgment was taken against him last year by a bank because somebody phoned me and tipped me off and supplied me with the information.
What information?
The fact that there was a judgment taken against him in the High Court for 680,000 rand for non-payment of debt. Now, he stood outside Parliament, and by the way, I should point out that if you stand outside Parliament and you make defamatory comments, you're no longer protected by the Parliamentary Privileges Act. He came running outside Parliament, harassing me, trying to stop me from leaving, and then shouted out, he's running away, he's a spy, and he's running away.
He didn't stop you from leaving, Mr. O'Sullivan. He stood on the balcony and you were in the vehicle.
Before he got to the balcony, he tried to stop me from leaving. Now, I don't know if you were there, but he tried to stop me from leaving.
Okay.
So, you're obviously on his side.
I'm on nobody's side. I'm a journalist, and I'm asking you questions. Whether you want to answer them or not is entirely up to you, Mr. O'Sullivan. But please don't make comments that I want to be a committee member or that I am on his side, because that is unfair and you have no evidence of that.
You should ask open questions. I
am asking you open questions, but I watched the footage.
Unfortunately, what you did, you may have watched the footage, but you didn't see where he blocked me from leaving the committee room. And if you'd have seen that, you wouldn't be making the comment, he didn't try and stop you from leaving. He did try and stop me from leaving.
Okay. Will you go back to the ad hoc committee if you are subpoenaed, or if there's a ruling, or if there's a case opened up against you that you should go back?
First of all, if they open a case against me, that's a separate issue.
Yes,
secondly, if they invite me back there, I will go providing I get an undertaking that they will stop making defamatory statements, they will stop calling me a spy, they will stop calling me a white supremacist, and they will stop calling me a thug. Because that's just, or as MP James said, I'm a member of a drug cartel.
But you've called them crooks and criminals.
Well, I haven't called them. Who did
a number of members of parliament. You claim that it's specifically the NKP. Okay.
No, I didn't say they're all crooks and criminals. So what you're doing is you're taking it out of context, because they have also tried to say that I called them. I did not call them crooks and criminals.
So who's a crook and a criminal, Mr. O'Sullivan, so I don't get it wrong?
I think that should sit and wait till we get to court, because we have the evidence of the people that are the crooks and criminals.
There's also been a concern around the amount of money that you paid for your hotel the first time you appeared before the ad hoc committee, over 90,000 Rand, and that is going to be, you're going to claim that back from Parliament.
I've already claimed it back. Let me read it out to you.
Have they paid you?
No, but let me read it out to you. Will you allow me to do that without interrupting me?
Go ahead.
Okay. When I sent the expenses in, I listed it as follows. Air ticket for myself, 9,084 Rand. Air ticket for my what do you call it, close protection officer, 9,084 Rand. Hotel for myself, 30,000 Rand. Hotel for my protection officer, 30,000 Rand. Hotel parking, 300 Rand. Avis car rental, 1,921 Rand. Total amount, 80,563.70. And then I said the following. Note, due to mining in Daba, hotels, flights and car rental were all fully booked. So the 10th and 11th, when I appeared in Parliament, was mining in Daba week. There were no hotel rooms available. And the hotel, the same hotel that I paid 30,000 for 3 nights for, is now those rooms are available for 2,000 Rand a night. So is it my fault or is it Parliament's fault for choosing to have me come there during the mining in Daba week? Whose fault is that?
Do you believe that you did not delay in appearing before the ad hoc committee physically, that you cooperated from the very beginning? Because if memory serves me correctly, Mr. O'Sullivan, you refused to appear physically. You only wanted to appear virtually.
In the country.
Okay, that's fine. But then, when you did decide to come, do you not think that that delay could have been avoided?
It could have been avoided if they had agreed with me way back in November when I said I wanted to attend. If they had have agreed with me my security arrangements without going public on them. They only did that in beginning of February. So it was only in the beginning of February when they agreed with me, and then they set the dates. I didn't set the dates. I said, you set the dates, I will come, based on the fact that you will now agree with me to implement my own security measures, and they did agree.
Will you be claiming back for this ticket that you missed and this ticket back to Johannesburg, given yesterday's debacle?
I didn't have to pay extra for the flight yesterday.
But the flight back to Johannesburg, are you going to claim back?
I haven't decided yet.
Okay. Let's move over to something that you keep speaking about, that certain members of Parliament keep calling you a spy. And it links a lot to the questions that were asked by members of Parliament to say that the timing in which you decided to arrive in South Africa was a time where South Africa was unfavorable. There were sanctions on South Africa. It was a very difficult time in our country, and you decided you would like to come to South Africa. Members of Parliament keep reiterating this point that you are a spy. Are you a spy?
Absolutely not. Do I look like a spy?
I don't know what spies look like. Well, that's why I'm asking you, are you a spy?
Show me a spy who's 70 years old. I'm actually in my 71st year now. Show me the spy who's in his 71st year. If we go back in time, and you'll let me finish this, when I opened a docket against Jackie Selebi in 2004, he was finally only arrested and charged in 2008. At the time he was arrested and charged, a week before that, he brought an urgent application in the High Court in Pretoria, and in his affidavit he insisted that I was a foreign spy and I had motivated the Scorpions to arrest him and charge him. The reality of the situation was that he was convicted on fraud and corruption and sent to 15 years in prison. That was in 2007. In 2017, that's 10 years later, a docket that I opened in 2016 resulted in the arrest of General PHAHLANE'S, the acting commissioner of police. That's 10 years later. And what does he do? He runs around all the media houses who are so gullible, they give him airtime and let him say, this foreign spy came along and made these fake charges against him so that he could be arrested. The reality of the situation is he's standing trial on something like 700 charges of fraud and corruption on 3 different criminal trials. Now, that was in 2017 and he's still got to go through all those trials. Here we are 10 years later and we now have people who are claim to be investigating the allegations of MKHWANAZI, who've set up this ad hoc committee. And now when people go there to testify, 10 years later, I'm being accused again of being a spy. And that's all they're interested in focusing on. And then they make comments like, this man must be deported. Who the hell do they think they are?
No, the questions that have been raised, Mr. O'Sullivan, is the timing in which you came to South Africa, the work that you have done, and the allegation that you were influencing IPID investigations.
Well, I've disproven that. If you sit and go back to my last visit of Parliament, where I spent several hours, and if we want to go through it now, let's just start the hearing all over again.
No, this is not the ad hoc committee. We cannot be going through...
But the reality of the situation is I was able to prove beyond reasonable doubt, we have countless affidavits that proves beyond reasonable doubt that I in no way, shape or form captured IPID, as they class it.
So you had no influence, you had no engagements with IPID. You can clearly and with an open heart say that you did none of that.
As God is my witness, I had absolutely no influence. Let me tell you something. I opened a docket against PHAHLANE in February 2016. That's 10 years ago. At the time I opened the docket, Robert McBride was on suspension, unlawful suspension. The Constitutional Court found that his suspension was unlawful. He had been suspended unlawfully by the then Minister of Police. Then what happened? After he'd been unlawfully suspended, I'd opened this docket against PHAHLANE in February 2016. Now the next thing, the acting head of IPID, instead of investigating the docket, gave a copy of it to PHAHLANE in March 2016. On the 1st of April 2016, when I was boarding a flight to London with my then 8-year-old and 9-year-old daughter, the cops dragged me off the plane without a warrant of arrest, assaulted me in front of my 2 little girls, put me in handcuffs, took me away, and unlawfully detained me and kept me in rat-ridden with sewage all over the floor cell for 3 days. Let me finish, please.
I'm just running out of time.
Well, that's not my problem. You asked me the question, I'm giving you the answer, all right? You know, what I don't like is being asked a question and then being stopped from giving an answer.
I've given you ample time. Continue.
No, but the evidence leader at the ad hoc hearing said that the treatment of me was egregious, shocking treatment, because not only did they do that, they then took away my passports and stopped me from leaving the country. I had to bring a court application to go to my daughter's birthday party overseas. That cost me 300,000 rand. I then had to bring, they then launched 6 fake criminal trials against me. 6 trials I had to endure. I spent 88 days in court over 3 years and 140 days in preparing for those 88 days in court. That cost me over 15 million rand. And you think that I can just sit here now and say that's the conduct of a spy? What I was trying to do was expose the rot in the criminal justice system, which is resulting in undetected crime, 70 murders a day. There are so much crime in this country that after the poverty, and by the way, the poverty that's taking place in this country is because of the crime and the corruption by these rotten cops and these rotten members of parliament who've decided to steal the future of South Africa.
Mr. O'Sullivan, this is not the ad hoc committee, and I unfortunately don't have ample time. As much as you think that's not your problem, I just don't have the time.
Unfortunately, I also don't, because it's now 12:30 and I have to finish.
Yes,
so if you can finish
yes, we can. I just have two last questions for you. What is your plan moving forward? Are you planning to stay in South Africa because you're here, then you're not here? And given what you've just said about how members of parliament have treated you, are you planning to stay here? What is your... What do you do? What is the plan?
I'll read you an email that I sent to the Speaker of the House yesterday, and it answers your question exactly. First of all, I copied an email that somebody sent to me where they suggested that I pack my bags and leave and I go and live somewhere else. And underneath that copy and pasted email, I said the following: despite the incitement for me to depart SA and never come back, I'm staying put. PHAHLANE and Suma and their crooked friends tried to coerce me into leaving SA 10 years ago against threats to spend my life in prison. I stayed put and beat them. The same will happen here. I'm not afraid of criminals. I never am. I've spoken to my counsel at senior length this morning, and he shares my view that I cannot be lawfully compelled to come and sit while suffering pain, to be unlawfully and intentionally harassed, abused and racially attacked, and have my private information published to the world and have my dignity impaired.
So you're staying in South Africa?
Absolutely.
And you're going to continue investigating according to what you do?
I'm sort of pension age now.
So
but
you're retiring?
I've built up, not yet. I've built up a team of people, and that team will continue, and the work will continue until... Once we crack all this, what the people of South Africa know is that if we have a decent police service and a decent prosecution service, crime will come down. And if crime will come down, we'll go from 70 murders a day to, you know, who knows, maybe 10, 20, 30 murders. But whatever, any reduction in murders, any reduction in rape, any reduction in armed robberies, has to be welcome.
I'm fully aware of the picture when it comes to crime in this country. Just lastly, Mr. O'Sullivan, will you subject yourself to the police if you are arrested again, as the Speaker could open up a case against you?
They're welcome to do what they want.
Will you hand yourself over to the police? Do you believe that you should hand yourself over to the police?
For what?
For defying Parliament and walking out?
No, it's not a crime. I've taken Council's opinion. I went there voluntarily. I didn't go there under a summons. So what I'm not going to do is in 2 minutes or 3 minutes debate an issue which belongs in court. But the reality of the situation is I went there voluntarily at my own expense, and I sat there and I received...
Not at your own expense, Mr. O'Sullivan,
yes.
Because you claimed back from Parliament.
They haven't paid me.
But you claimed it, and they probably will pay.
Excuse me, let me explain something to you. While I was there, I could have been working. I flew back to this, I should have flown, today was the day I should have arrived back. My original flights were to arrive back today. I flew back 2 weeks ago or 3 weeks ago so that I could attend Parliament. I didn't charge them for that ticket for me to fly back from the UK.
Will you go to the Madlanga Commission?
If I'm invited, I will definitely go to the Madlanga Commission. I've already written to the Madlanga Commission, and I've supplied them with a copy of my statement. And I've also asked them to investigate certain members of the Ad Hoc Committee of Parliament who I believe are protecting the criminals that they are claiming to be investigating.
Just lastly, if you are subpoenaed, summoned to go back to the Ad Hoc Committee, will you do so?
That will have to depend on a matter of law, because if they invite me back there and they give me an undertaking that they will stop harassing, abusing my dignity, calling me a white supremacist, calling me a thug, telling me that I run a drug cartel, all these lies that they know are lies.
Sullivan, I think you've got thicker skin than that. I mean, I've been called things all my career. You just got to keep it moving.
But I don't have to sit there for 3 hours and listen to all that rubbish. So whatever you get called, that's fine. I don't uphold that. I know nothing about it.
I keep harping on the same point because the South Africans want to understand why you did what you did yesterday, and you saying it's because you were insulted and you just
no,
didn't
it's
feel...
not. I didn't. You didn't listen to me, Heidi. I said that the arrangement was, and the chairman said it 5 times, that I would be leaving at 1 p.m. He said it 5 times.
Okay.
Go back and listen to it.
I will.
And I stayed an additional 15 minutes. So I didn't say I'm leaving because of the abuse. But the reality of it is, when I left, the abuse I then started getting was unfathomable.
Okay. Thank you so much for your time.
I guys know you've heard it yourself. All I can say is that Paul does not know what he wants. I think he's used to getting away with a lot of things. He's used to calling people, insulting people, saying things about people. And now he's realizing that things are not the same and that he's in a situation or an environment where people are challenging him. Whereas he's used to environments where when he says it goes, he can say whatever. Whereas now he's in parliament and most of the people there, especially those ones that are vocal, like the members of Action SA, EFF and MKP, they call him out on whatever that he says. I don't know what you call it nonsense or you call it what, but they call him out on it. I just think that Upolo Sullivan, he just can't stand it because of the fact that he's used to not being challenged. He's used to just getting away with it. He's used to being in a platform where he takes it. Hence, you even can see from the interview that he's having with Heidi that it's just a matter of he feels like Heidi was supposed to be on his side, question in a certain way that would have made him comfortable. For example, like the way Yusuf was doing. He could have preferred Yusuf than Haiti because Haiti comes across as, more of robust approach, accountability approach. I want answers. I want the public to know this is what the public want to ask. Whereas Yusuf was going to ask him in a way that is comfortable to him and not challenge him. Whereas Haiti comes across as this lady that is challenging him. Hence, this interview looks so messy like this and it looks like he is being attacked. Whereas I think it's mostly all about the fact that this person is not used to being challenged and is not used to facing people head on. All the time he's used to, just covering up and being, in a comfortable situation where you can just speak bad about people and no one retaliates and no one says you are wrong because you are like this, you are a white supremacist, you are all of that. I'm not the one to judge him as to what he is, but I just think that from observing, he comes across as very defensive, whereas even the other side as well is very defensive of their approach. They are the same persons, the way I see it. If someone says, you are evil, and I say back that you are evil, who's wrong? We're both wrong. We are the same person at the end of the day. Me, I view you as evil, you view me as evil. That is our viewpoint about each other. So I just think that is the same thing with Paulo Sullivan. He's old, man. Mkhulu is old. I just think that he should not try to complicate things. As he's saying he's sick, he has a back problem and he wanted to go rest. He just has to tell them gahle, address them properly and go rest and find another day where he can come and say his testimony. At the end of the day, Baba, you've done it wrong. Before you even had that back pain, there's a lot that you've done and it's time for accountability. I'm not saying that his medical condition does not matter. It's definitely important, but he needs to recognize and realize that these are the ghosts of the things, the crimes that he created when he was still new and fresh, now are coming to haunt him. That's just how life is. He just has to get away with it. Nonetheless, guys, let's move right along. So, guys, we've been a very busy country, so I wanted to just speak a little bit about PHAHLANE'S testimony. So, Khobuza PHAHLANE'S testimony, I think it's just very painful because of the hostile relationship that he has with the evidence leader, and it doesn't look like it will ever be resolved. They just have abazwadi. And I think that sometimes they don't get along because maybe people can say it's because he's in the members, he's there with Paulo Sullivan. But I also think that we must also be cognizant of the fact that it happens. Probably you are watching me, but you don't like me. You just don't. I will feel it happens. And you wish that it can be someone else. It happens. Those things, they happen. So I just think that these ones, that's abenzelwanga, abadalelwanga. I don't know if that makes sense. Like, I don't know if to my audience that doesn't understand Zulu, but they were not made for each other. There are those people. that no matter what, like, they just can't click. They just can't get along. Other people would even say they love each other because they can't get along. They're always fighting, you know, especially in the context of relationships. But here, I just think it's that type of relationship where, like, ukazal connect, man. They just can't. And no matter how much they try, they always find themselves in the same point where another one feels like they're being investigated and interrogated. I just think that it's some kind of relationship like that, but not negating the other possibility that this guy might be part of Paul O'Sullivan and everybody else. Nonetheless, guys, let me talk about the issue of MATLALA, that he knows MATLALA, but he says that he had a relationship with MATLALA way before. He had a relationship way after he was in the police. He said he was with MATLALA. He knows MATLALA from other things and had a conversation with MATLALA about other things. It was not about SAPS or the police or anything of that kind. Just think that anyone who is in cahoots with MATLALA, guys, is just by default guilty. In front of South Africans' eyes, it's just by default guilty. Not saying that PHAHLANE is guilty, but I understand those ones that just don't trust him. They feel like he's some kind of liar.
I know why I must answer, but I'm forced to answer. First, I know Vusi Cat MATLALA. He's a black young man coming from Pretoria. He comes from Mamelodi. I happen to have been in the same area. I think for the better part of my adult life, I've been in Pretoria. So I know him very well. I know Brigadier Rachel Macheng. Brigadier Rachel Macheng is used to be somebody who I worked with, and I know him, I know her, and the only reason I know Kat is because the two of them were in a relationship. That's why I got to know him. I think while I've been knowing that there is Kat, a person in Mamelodi called MATLALA. I met him after I got to know that he is in a relationship with her. And I happened to meet with Kat not during my tenure in any office. I was long out of office, so my meetings with him had absolutely nothing to do with what is happening in the police or in government. So I want to confirm that I have met Kat MATLALA.
Something of that kind. I don't know what you guys think. I didn't want to delve deep on the testimony of PHAHLANE because I didn't listen to it. So I just only listened to the part of MATLALA. But I will take time to go back and rewatch the testimony so that we can have a much better video or episode about the testimony and analyze it much and give it more justice. Now, moving right along to the NKABINDE inquiry. So, NKABINDE inquiry went on to show us explicit visuals of the victims of the CATO unit. And one of them that they showed us in detail was a man who was handcuffed when he was arrested, and they took him to a garage. And when they arrived in that garage, in a toilet, because he said that he wanted to relieve himself. So when they got to that toilet, Bati Mugai removed his handcuffs and wanted to reach out to a firearm that was in the possession of one of the police officers. They said that then he was stopped, and then it so happened that he was shot. And from what is being told by the forensic analyst is that from the way things were, it doesn't look like that. This person clearly, he was just taken into that particular place and was shot right there and then. And I think one of the things that are worrying people more than anything is that it's even happening in a public platform, like a garage. It looks like they just are in operations or working with even the garage manager, that these things are even happening in that platform. You know, it's different if someone comes in and unallows you in your home or unallows you in the police station, but in the garage, guys.
And position photo 3 and photo 4. showing the position of the body after it was moved or it was turned. And photo 5 and photo 6, showing the position of the wound on the chest and on the right side of the face. And photo 7 and photo 8, showing the exit wounds at the back.
They are just going through all these 23 cases one by one as to what happened, because we know that there was the same modus operandi. All of them were shot on the head as a way of unaliving them. All of them. The other one was unalived on the road, and he was stopped by the police officers, and then they shot at him in the head. But the initial argument of the police officers is that this person was running and was shooting at the police officers. But when you're looking at the track of things, the trail, you see that there was close range, and this person did not even have a firearm with them. The firearm was in the car but not with them, and it does sometimes look like this was planted. Someone else also in the hotel, the police officers came in, they wanted to arrest them. This person, it is said that he shot at the police shot at him, and then he fell he tried to run from the hotel, and that's how they fell down. But from what is being told is that this person, that was not the case. This person was shot at, and after they were shot at, they were thrown because of how there was wounds on the head. So that's one of the things that the evidence, the forensics also pointed out. And there's just many kinds of situations, including the one that we're discussing today, of a man who was shot at in his house. And people, the brother as well as the mother, gave testimony that after shooting at him, they gave him a firearm. Another person, they were kneeling. There was evidence that they were kneeling, and then still the unit shot at that person.
It sounds as if the police officer fired more than two in the same time. My brother then fell down. The very same white man who fired shots went outside and said, "Gun, gun." White police officer came back with a handgun. He went to my brother, who was lying on the floor. A white police officer lifted my brother's hands and put that handgun as if my brother was firing shots. Shooting more than one shot were fired from my brother's hand.
So those were like examples that they were trying to show us that this unit was quite brutal.
And then they shot him. I mean, isn't that a typical execution?
Yeah, I would say it possibly could be execution. As I said, the way he was shot at, he was already down, he was lying down on the floor.
When it comes to this whole thing, it was quite aggressive when it comes to the unalivings. And they even argued that it looks like execution style. It doesn't look like it was like normal unalivings of someone who has done something. It was clear execution.
Find out why Inspector Mostert is the regular executioner. He's always the one carrying a shotgun, a pistol and then shooting.
Chair, it's difficult to can say that, but at one stage when we were that side, when we were consulting with a number of people, interviewing people about this, at one stage we once had information that between the three, Warrant Officer Mostert, Captain Van Tonner and Eric Knapp, there was a competition of how many people can you shoot.
And mostly the people that were at the fore was Motorrad as well as Naidu. So yeah, all I can say is that with the NKABINDE inquiry, if you're very interested in true crime, understanding the details and studying the medical forensics, understanding as to what happened when somebody shoots you from afar and when somebody shoots you close by or closer, and when someone uses a rifle or a shotgun, all those things. If you're interested, of which I am, NKABINDE inquiry is definitely your place, because I did medical pathology in my final year of law school. So I really enjoyed the course, and NKABINDE inquiry is just adding that taste of you understanding. And as someone said, there's certainly a little an interlink between Madlanga as well as NKABINDE, because NKABINDE is more detailed as to when these people get unalived, what actually happens, whereas Madlanga is more detailed on the actual corruption, that this is what they do, they took instruction from who, they were working with who, they were in cahoots of who. But NKABINDE is more like a criminal space where you understand the scenes as to what is happening with the scenes. How do you see that the evidence is planted? How do you pay attention to details whenever we evaluate the scenes of the unalivings? Then I want to talk about Madlanga Commission, which is Miss Linda Xasheka appeared before the Madlanga Commission, and the first thing that I saw from her is that she came also now with that mentality that, you know what, I'm here to tell my side of the story, and I will fight for my side of the story. She came with that type of attitude, and also she came with that attitude as well to say that it is not what you guys think it is. These people have been lying on me. I'm not that person.
Even on his statement is that arrest is imminent. They're gonna arrest, and therefore he took a discretion that perhaps he should not discipline. He must wait for the arrest. 3 months is going. He doesn't discuss that with me or Dr. Mashal. So he decided at that point in time he's not going to proceed with the disciplinary, waiting for that arrest.
And I think that I don't judge her per se for taking that stance, because I think that she is in serious trouble. She is in serious trouble. But she came to redeem herself. And I must tell you, I judge her because the law does not really say what she is saying. The law, it's mostly giving too much power to the SUBS Act of 1994. The SUBS Act is the one that it trumps all the other acts or the other laws in the municipal level. But if you can just look at it just for the face of it, you'll think that indeed those laws give power to the city manager. That is why Mashazi was making so many decisions without the involvement of chief of police. We're not looking at it in a political sense or administrative sense. We're looking at it in a legal sense. That's why she's heavily challenged, especially with regards to something like this that she said.
Go back to page 41 of that file too. The allegation in 3.1.2 is that you supported the exercise of powers by the erstwhile city manager, Dr. Mashazi, notwithstanding that powers were, the relevant powers were being vested in the chief of police. And you respond to that from paragraph 29. Can I ask you to explain your response to the Commission?
Thank you, Chair and Commissioners. Again, my intention here is to submit in front of the Commission that whereas Isaac Mapieye, the Chief of Police, refers to MPS'REACT, Section 64C, as the ultimate law that governs EMPD, the city is regulated by other laws. I could have articulated this previously. We have the Municipal Systems Act, specifically I think Section 55, but I'm not going to dwell on that. Municipal Structures Act, Municipal Finance Management Act, Municipal Staff Regulation, as amended in September 2021, Labor Relations Act that we must prescribe to or subscribe to, the Disciplinary Procedure Collective Agreement, amongst other few legal prescripts that can be mentioned that governs the city of Ekurhuleni. I further submit that the city manager is the ultimate authority in all matters and functionaries relating to operations of the municipality, specifically in this instance, municipal police services.
So Ms. Linda Xasheka mostly focused on the issue of the appointments of MKHWANAZI. and that these people were shortlisted by MPA, and that MPA allowed for the people to be shortlisted, and then there was appointments then that followed. And she also said that the panel had the people that MPA looked for. So when the panel now makes recommendations, why is it that MPA now is not happy about these recommendations that were made by the panel that he constituted? She went further then to talk about the extension of Ukutmeli Mzolo so that they can be busy with the appointments of the new Deputy Chief of Police. She said that still the powers that MPA had, and MPA just misused those powers or just allowed things to be done and now doesn't want to take accountability. And so far, that's how she has been painting MPA as that particular person. And then she spoke about the issue of the blue lights, and that she knew about the blue lights through Unliza, and that from that's how she got aware of the blue lights. But she didn't want to be too involved because she just came from maternity leave and didn't want to, endanger herself.
Linda GCASHEKA is not mentioned. Hence I'm saying, maybe I should give a statement. What is good for the kids is good for the kid. When it suits them, they include me on matters. When it suits them, they want to exclude me. Maybe there's a reason they excluded me here, because I would have challenged this.
Pointed out to the issues in the municipalities, that there's a lot of issues, and that she herself, she was told that she's going to be unalived like the way they unalive someone in the municipality for being involved in certain matters. So she had to protect her family and protect herself. She said, by the way, she doesn't deal normally with criminal matters because she's HR. She doesn't deal with any criminal investigations. She also spoke about the charge sheet. And then with the charge sheet, she said that it was not served to Julius MKHWANAZI. Instead, Mliza, as well as someone else also in the AMPD, they were busy sharing the charge sheet amongst each other. So she does not understand why she's being blamed for all of that. She also specifically spoke about the IPID report, saying that all of these recommendations from the IPID could have been sent to the council, because that's one of the biggest criticisms that GCASHEKA has received, that these people did not even take time to involve council in all of this. And council is very important in terms of the law, that they have to be incorporated in all of this, but they were not there. So to show you the problem about the EMPD and everything, hence people are criticizing her that she did not even understand labor laws. She did not even understand how all of this is impacting her department. She went ahead to talk about the 3 suspended employees, which is Uktwala, Mackenzie, and Stolz, of which I don't think she provided enough context when it comes to that. One of the biggest criticisms I have about the testimony of GCASHEKA is that I'm not sure. I'm not happy about the context that she's provided. I feel like it's just not enough. Everything, it's just not enough. It's like touch and base. I just don't want to dwell much on this. Then they spoke about their increase, and she said it was a reward. She worked hard. She's hardworking. Hence, she's been getting promotions. There's nothing like because of MKHWANAZI. Therefore, she's saying, sticking to that thing, Yoguti, she's working very hard. And also, when that was said, she spoke about Liza, criticized Liza, that Liza got 1 million rands, and that even Liza, after got 1 million rands, no one questioned. And also Liz was earning way more than her, so she just wanted more money, that's all, and she deserved that money. So we're still gonna see with cross-examination what actually happens when it comes to that.
I'm praying at some point that the public can understand there was no fraud that was done here. There was no favor that was done for me and Advocate Kim. In fact, when the matter went to mayoral for endorsement, the item went to remuneration committee, and then it went to mayoral. Dr. Mashazi called me after mayoral and asked, how did all those MMC agree that this money be given to you? It's a salary review. I came to the city of Ekurhuleni quite senior, coming from city of Joburg. I have implemented so many achievements that I have not put here.
When it comes to the vetting process of the EMPD, she is saying that when it comes to the vetting, it's not her job. It's the job of the chief of police to conduct that vetting. It has nothing to do with her. Then she went ahead to talk about the leaking of information and the email from Ubikli of favoritism, and the fact that the MKHWANAZI, the matters are not properly investigated, and that charges have not been served. And in that particular email, there was also 12 weeks and all of that. And it doesn't seem like she's clear on this particular matter.
The minute I was suspended, I requested that can I go home, and I told them that they like go to the Eastern Cape. By the way, they say I'm from Limpopo, not from Limpopo. I said to the executive mayor, you give me other reasons to run away. Other issues, I think, Commissioner Khumalo, you are aware, they were part of the assessments. I did give all the incidents that I've gone through in my house, in myself, where I had to have break-ins in my house, men with 5 rifles in my house, followed by cars that are branded by EMPD. They have EMPD branding. When they are searched, they don't belong to EMPD. After being suspended, I ran to the Eastern Cape. I'm followed in a hotel where I was sleeping. 2 men entered my room, and others that are in that report.
And also with the upliftment of the suspension, she's saying that MAPA also agreed to that upliftment and that there was no case against MKHWANAZI from what Upihari said, and again down. I just think that she was just there to tell us that people have inserted her on things that don't concern her. And on things that concern her, they didn't insert her. They will consistently ask for her help, even on situations whereby she does not have to provide for help. And it's like she's literally justifying other things by saying that it is the law, and other things she's just saying that, it was not me. These people allowed for this process. For example, MAPA is the one that allowed for MKHWANAZI to go back to work. And all I'm saying is that MAPA did say that Mashazi was here on his neck, saying that no, you're not about to get rid of MKHWANAZI. Reinstating MKHWANAZI and giving him another job or redeploying him, that was something Yaga Mashazi. It was not her thing. So it's just that blame game. Like, guys, it's so much of a blame game.
So were you given an instruction?
I must attend to it.
You must attend to it. You must put this right.
Yes.
Just to clarify, so the instruction from Dr. Mashazi was to stop this redeployment. Is that what you're saying?
Yes, address it.
Then she also pointed out to her life also not being safe, and that she's been followed by EMPD members. She's just not been feeling safe at all. And then she's also tried to expose Mliza, saying that Mliza does not have the qualification. There was misrepresentation from him, and that people see her as a devil. And then she also spoke about Rivo's Peace, saying Rivo's Peace sort of like greedy. Said that he's taking early retirement so that he can receive money, but at the same time he's getting some money from Tshwane Metro,
where he claimed that he has retired, whereas we all know he came and said here, I think he might have worn a uniform that he went and worked for Swan. And the issue that I was raising there is, when you are retiring in the city of Ekurhuleni and take early retirement, there's benefits you receive. He's receiving about 5,000 every month, 5.7 from Ekurhuleni, but he's also receiving the same benefits at Swan. And in his letter of resignation, he said he's taking early retirement, he wants to go and spend time with his children. But then in his statement, he goes further and create a misperception here that he was ill-treated. He left because Ekurhuleni didn't treat him very nicely, but voluntarily in his letter of early retirement, he says he wants to go and spend time with his family.
So it has just been a lot. It has just been a lot when it comes to the testimony of GCASHEKA. But I think in the nutshell, I didn't have certain powers, whereas I did have certain powers. Mashazi is the one that has certain powers, especially when it comes to some of the things that were taken. Bihari also had the powers. I'm a victim myself, and also myself, I've been facing a lot of persecution. That is literally the nutshell of her testimony, to say that it's not what you guys think it is. I myself also have been excluded. When I was supposed to be included, I've been excluded. And whenever I complain, it looks like I got the things that I got because I'm on the side of MKHWANAZI, whereas I deserve them. I work hard. That is literally her testimony. I don't know what you guys think. It was not interesting today. There's just nothing much like that she said, literally, on her examination in chief. We know that in most cases, it gets more interesting at cross-examination. Let us quickly address these last two matters. Calvin Mathibeli is also coming back saying that he regrets nothing that he said about Lieutenant General MKHWANAZI. He is not going to retract anything, and that he is saying literally to MKHWANAZI that bring it on, nigga. That's literally what he is saying.
And MKHWANAZI is saying these comments you're making are absurd and they're defamatory and derogatory. Are you changing your view? Please unmute as well as you say hello. Good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon, Gareth. How are you?
I'm well, thank you. Are you going to retract any of the statements? Do you feel you need to?
No, I don't think I should. I'm not going to retract any statement I will have made. I think I've got reasons. There is a background that will have happened over the past 6 to 7 years now, because what people see now, I've been silent for a number of years. So it's been happening to me for a number of years. Thank you.
Can you just, for those who don't know the intricacies of this story and this court case, what exactly is the issue between the two of you in layman's terms?
Well, Gareth, I'm going to take back to what happened to me in December, but also go back to what has been happening to me a number of years. In December, I got a call from someone informing me that if I'm in Durban in my house, I should leave because there are police instructed to come and kill me. And I told the guy, I'm not in Durban, I'm out of the province. And 10 minutes after that, indeed the police arrived with their faces concealed, pointing guns at my family house. There was my sister there in that house. So when my sister comes through, when she came at the gate, they were pointing guns and claiming that they're looking for me. They've got a warrant of arrest to arrest me. Now, strangely enough, while the police were still there, that information was also in the hands of some taxi people, so that knew some of those people will have called me either to tell me about the same police operation, that indeed you are going to be assassinated, this was going on, So, whereas then when we verified that particular warrant of arrest, it was found that it is fraudulent. We wrote a letter to the minister, we wrote a letter to the national commissioner requesting them to explain, because we did verify the case that I was not anywhere a suspect in that case. I don't even know what they were talking about. It is alleged that I was arrested in 2024, then I skipped the bail. But if you look at that particular thing, that warrant, it does not exist. It's a fraudulent. Hence, they only confirmed this thing after a second attack that will have happened on the 13th of February. So we have been targeted for a number of years.
So I know this is an ongoing issue. I just need to ask you, Mr. MATHIBELI, so one of the concerns as well is that you raised, and just briefly, I know this might be unfair, I apologize, as briefly as possible. You claim that MKHWANAZI was attempting to silence you. Is that something and a statement you still stick by? And if so, why do you say that, sir?
Look, I must say, Gareth, that there is a lawsuit that happened, that I filed early last year against SAPS in KZN. And not only that, police have come to attack me in a number of years, and I've been silent up until I realized that, the latest one, when I was informed that there is this team of police coming to assassinate you, and in the name that I shot back at the police, then I realized that I need to tell my story, because I've been keeping quiet, I've been silent. I'm someone who does like it to be all over. I'm someone who like his own privacy, for that matter. But that one was a bigger shock for me to say, what is it that I will have done exactly? So it comes from there to say the world need to know what I've suffered in the hands of police in KZN over the past 7 years, because it's not new.
I appreciate you coming on. I'm sure we'll talk again while this court case is still ongoing. Businessman Calvin MATHIBELI making...
As you guys have heard, it looks like it's going to be a long journey. It's going to be a long one, but I know that Lieutenant General MKHWANAZI is definitely going to fight this until the end. We'll hear when the judgment is out with regards to the interdict. If the interdict does not hold because it lacks the exigency, definitely the matter will continue with trial, normal time, and one day the truth will come out. And literally someone, I don't know who it is, someone is going to apologize. Then I wanted to close off with this video by talking about the legal things that are happening in Madlanga. I just think Madlanga needs to be very firm and hardcore when it comes to this trend that is happening.
This may be a recurring issue, as you indicate. I mean, I think we've had this before, if not with this witness, then with other witnesses, that perhaps you may want to consider whether at some point, if this persists, whether a medical doctor or health professional who signs a certificate should not be called to come and testify. Alternatively, whether there are no appropriate circumstances to compel a witness to come if we end up with certificates like this. For example, in this case, it's an option available to the Commission, and we would ask you to address us on that at the appropriate time. Do we call the doctor? Do you apply and ask for a warrant to get the witness to come here because they don't provide satisfactory explanation and proof that they are unwell? Those are factors that I suggest you may want to consider. And it is unacceptable that we've got A1 this morning. It says nothing about the condition of the patient and whether this patient has been seen by this person in the way that I've read, that according to my knowledge / I have been informed. It doesn't tell us that whoever signed this saw this patient, and that this is their opinion that he cannot come and appear before us.
It was the other witness this week that postponed to March. Now Linda GCASHEKA also wanted to postpone. They always find ways and excuses, especially this leg that we are currently dealing with. I think that they definitely have to enforce really strict rules because people are coming with different excuses. And I think Miss Advocate Sesi was right. They definitely have to find a way with regards to having doctors, summoning those doctors, so that we know these fake doctors. If there's fake doctors who are issuing these letters so that people don't appear before the Madlanga Commission, because the commission is starting to be disrespected. Slowly but surely, they're going to want to make this Madlanga Commission to be similar to the Zondo Commission. And I don't think these commissioners should allow that. And we don't want a commission that will take years and years and years without any resolution. Before the end of July or even August, this process should be concluded. We want to see arrests. That's what South Africans want to see. They want to see arrests happening, not this hullabaloo of attorneys that are busy postponing. But the look of things, this year might end up going by without us even seeing justice. But about ANC, Ramaphosa, they'll continue protecting people like Senzo Mtsunu, all right way through. So we should make sure that we support these commissioners, and that these commissioners don't find themselves in that tight situation and solution where they will have to allow this trend, this dirty trend that is coming with these people that are trying to always postpone, and then when they are here they still want to postpone, and even when they're here you don't even understand why the postponement. Why was the postponement? Because you don't even know your story either way. You're fan. Even Nkosi we want to see him. Already his pictures are out. This guy must just come and appear. We don't want to hear excuses of, I'm sick, but he was busy there on the boats with dinners. All of a sudden he's sick. Oh, okay. People must come and account in the Madlanga Commission. And the commissioners should never ever allow this type of behavior that we see from these legal representatives together with their clients. Just one last thing. If you guys listen to that exclusive by Paul O'Sullivan very carefully, SKHOSANA from the MKP said he was served with papers. After yesterday, if you guys remember, that Paul O'Sullivan did point at him and told him that, I know you are in debt.
We can't. He is running away.
In the same way.
The chairperson is not
in the same way that you run away.
No, we don't run away. Spies are running away from us. This is unbecoming.
But here's the problem now.
Spy.
Here's the problem. You're no longer in Parliament. You're standing outside Parliament. And you're lying through your teeth. You should just go and pay the debt that you owe to the bank.
And now, Mr. SKHOSANA has been served with court papers. This, I don't know what's going on, guys. How powerful is this Paul, guys?
Quite frankly, I was not surprised. For the first time, I've got my houses elsewhere. But today I was served with papers this morning. They came where I don't even know where they get the address. They know where I stay. They know where my houses are. And the PHAHLANE'S is very...
How powerful. The banks have not been acting all along, and all of a sudden they're acting. Do you think it's because of Paul? Paul did pull some strings, or They felt like they have to do something because now it's in the public eye that SKHOSANA uyakolota. And is he not paying his debt? Or vele Paulo Sullivan is coming for them one by one. Because I think that if already this is happening to SKHOSANA, and he told us this yesterday, and already there's action, this man is more powerful than we think. He's definitely coming for each and every one of those MPs. Hopefully they don't have too much dirt on them, because Ubafo is sitting there taking these interviews. We think he's just a naive old man with a back pain. Can't where this man is so cunning. And he's ensuring that he's investigating each and every one of them. I don't know. What do you think? I don't know what you guys think. Please comment your thoughts. Tell me what you think. I will see you guys on my next upload. Bye.